Hey guys, still not back at my house yet. It's still doing some house sitting, but I decided to make this quick video because, along with my chance to actually go about doing routines, I ended up getting some news about a couple days ago about this new policy that I've heard about. And if you're wondering why I have this quote from Voltaire on, it's pretty much my expression and my thoughts at the moment. For me, free speech was actually one of the main things that I was doing my best to promote during my time as a senior in high school and during my times in college, especially when a couple of the tuitions I tried to sign up for required me going about writing a paper focusing on the importance of free speech. I was very much dedicated to the subject and pretty much had the idea that even if you have the wrong ideas, you still had a right to at least express it while still understanding that socially people have the right to also critique what you have to say. And in some cases, some people will get beat up. You have to realize that sometimes some people will get that aggressive. Not saying beating up people is right, but just saying that there are consequences that end up coming to certain words said. But that being said, with what that is mentioned, apparently there is a new YouTube policy that I found out about. So this is from their blog, their official YouTube blog. Right here, it was posted on August the 1st, 2017. And so someone pointed it out to me, and that apparently they're going over 4 steps or something to combat what the intention is terrorist activity. So, and I can understand that. I mean, there's been some ISIS recruitment videos, and the recent trend of ISIS terrorist attacks is certainly something we as people need to control, especially if it's not just being recruited for people like for people that are in America, which is the place I'm in, but you also have people in England and such that are able to use YouTube and such, and they're able to then be recruited. And then you have other countries that have access to YouTube that are able to be recruited by this. So I understand that the need to eliminate recruitment into terrorism is something that needs to be challenged and combated. That I don't have a problem with. What I do have an objection to is some of the means in which they're going to do so. So they've mentioned that, of course, that they said they've always used a mix of technology and human review to address the ever-changing challenges around controversial content on YouTube. We recently began developing and implementing cutting-edge machine learning technology designed to help us identify and remove violent extremism and terrorism-related content in a scalable way. We have started rolling out these tools, and we are already seeing some positive progress. So they have started using some forms of it. In case some of y'all are unfamiliar, they did have like the ad ban thing that was going around. And one of the things about the ad ban was that for some reason, some people were like finding out their ads were being played on some controversial channels, such as one was about a KKK leader or something like that. They didn't want it on there, so they got it off there. Then there was the whole PewDiePie incident where PewDiePie wasn't even a Nazi, yet the Wall Street Journal still liked to advocate as if he is, without understanding the context of what the video was addressing and just mentioning satire and parody and comedy, and plus not even American comedy at that point. So it's not like Wall Street Journal's obviously going to get or understand it. Neither is American companies at this point. Or the fact of just that children today and the young people today have a very strange sense of humor compared to the times of when I was growing up in middle school and high school. We had a very different sense of humor than what is going about now. I mean, even my stepmom is seeing some of the stuff today. While there's some things she laughs at, and some things my dad, and some things my family in general has seen today, it's just strange to them. And some of the stuff is starting to be strange to me, and it's just because the times they are changing, as Bob Dylan once mentioned. But so they've done that, but they said they're using new cutting-edge machine learning technology to do this. Now, the reason that this raises a concern, from what I've heard, it's basically going to be like some sort of AI that's going to be examining these things, and that's specifically it, just an AI. And while I hope this would help, my hope is that it actually will learn to actually go against the stuff that matters, such as the ISIS videos, the stuff that recruits people into cults or into things that are of dangerous concern. You know, things that cause, once they orders you to go kill people or to just end free speech and the freedom of expression in America. And sometimes I think that with, like, my GPS on my phone has sometimes, when I've typed in the exact address I needed it to go to, it sends me to somewhere completely opposite and is nowhere even near close. Sometimes the machines can't be that reliable, and I realize that if these get implemented and they aren't in a good, proper way of able to distinguish between what is actually harmful content and what's not, then YouTube will start losing a lot of business and a lot of support as a result. So it's not merely me doing this because of the fact that I'm worried my channel might be a target for this, but it's a worry for me because I feel YouTube will lose support if what they plan on doing, which I support all the way, goes wrong. So there's that. And then, so they mentioned that, you know, speed and sufficiency, you know, you have humans trying to review it. It's not exactly as fast to get rid of all the mass-produced content. So he says the machines are going to learn faster and they're more effective. It says over 75% of the videos were removed for violent extremism over the past month were taken down before receiving a single human flag. So videos being flagged is then something that's mentioned, and people need to then examine it. Well, I wonder what term we're going to examine it. So then you have accuracy. The accuracy has improved dramatically due to our machine learning technology. While these tools aren't perfect, that's the key word. Note that they're not perfect and aren't right for every setting. In many cases, our systems have proven more accurate than human at flagging videos that need to be removed. And hopefully this will be the case. With over 400 hours, this is for the scale, of content uploaded to YouTube every minute, finding and taking action on violent extremist content possesses a significant challenge. But over the past month, our initial use of machine learning has more than doubled both the number of videos we've removed for violent extremism, as well as the rate at which we've taken this kind of content down. Now, hopefully, as soon as the fast, rapid double down goes about, they won't need to be as fast because they'll already removed a good majority of the already existing and has existed for a while extremist videos. But my issue then comes to the part about the experts, the people that they are going to consult to help further investigate about which videos are extremist and such. And that is that you have here that over the past weeks, we've been working with more than 15 additional expert NGOs and institutions through our Trusted Flagger program, including one group that's called the Anti-Defamation League. For those of you who aren't familiar with who the Anti-Defamation League is, they are the group that basically considers the Pepe the Frog cartoon character as a symbol of hate just because the alternative right has used it in the past to support their ideologies and such. They used it like on the little pictures and such, and now because of that, it's offensive. But if we're going to simply use that kind of ideas, I mean, of course, the rant for Anti-Defamation League can be for another day. My point is that you're going to have some people that have been considered not too much. They basically just think that, you know, if it disagrees with them, it's something that shouldn't be allowed. For example, there's the no hate speech movement. I personally am for the concept of equality and no free speech that they're trying to promote. That's the key word, trying. But if you say no hate speech, that means free speech except in clause, and then you have to read the fine print by what they mean by, you know, what exactly qualifies into pass for the free speech. Now, so this is the thing that concerns me, is because it says, quote, these organizations bring expert knowledge of complex issues like hate speech, radicalization, and terrorism that will help us identify content that is being used to radicalize and recruit extremists. We will regularly consult these experts as we update our policies to reflect new trends. Now, the thing that has come to my attention before is specifically one thing from this individual. Steve McRae is a good friend of mine, and in one video he made a while back, he apparently did something about a video on where Pizzagate was mentioned for only like 10 minutes, and then they moved on to other topics. Apparently, someone by the name of Brenda von Hassen or something like that, someone that was known in the community, tried to flag the video for the following reasons, according to the quote that he managed to save. And that is, quote, flagged for adult content. You are free to promote pedophilia on your channel if you wish, but it would be flagged so that children or others can filter out objectionable content. This is apparently something that Brenda commented on the video, and he just wanted to make sure to screenshot and share it just in case the person would try to take it down. Every single time you have Preet or anyone like her on your show, I will flag your channel for that reason. Offensive adult content should not be widely promoted and available to minors. So I mean, I think this thing is still there based on what I'm seeing here. But you know, Pizzagate basically just was mentioned for a bit. There was no talking about anything showing pornography and such. And plus, it's Steve McRae's channel. Why would a kid or a minor or a child have access to it? My nephew, for crying out loud, has the YouTube Kids app, and when you have the YouTube Kids app, it filters what's able to be seen. So if I were to go on there and just start searching and type in Steve McRae, his videos would not appear on there at all. My videos won't even appear on my nephew's at all. There's specifically a target audience that's being addressed, and certain videos will not be on there unless they're specifically aimed and have been marketed towards kids. So something like Ryan's toy reviews and so have been the main things of those. So unless a kid has access to, gets on the regular YouTube thing and starts doing it, then yeah, they're going to have some navigation problems. But as far as, you know, children goes for anything, I mean, where would they even hear of Steve McRae? Or, you know, why would they bother looking at Pizzagate? They're kids. The most thing they're going to do is look up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or to look up science homework and such. It's not, I think people look too much into this stuff sometimes. But anyways, going back to the article in which we were going to. So that's my concern, is that, you know, when you have people like that, and this is sort of the same people we're going to be dealing with the Anti-Defamation League and the No Hate Speech Movement and the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, some things that may be considered terroristic or extremist will not be allowed. So luckily, they didn't consider Steve's video to be inappropriate. So then they state there to be tougher standards, which this is the part that I'm concerned about, because it says, we'll soon be applying tougher treatments to videos that aren't illegal but have been flagged by users as potential violations of our policies of hate speech and violent extremism. Okay, so back then, as we read earlier, that they used to have someone that would just examine and review it, but as they stated, they don't have time for that anymore. So as a result, the computer bot is going to have to do it. Now, it can possibly get the job done, but it says if we find that these videos don't violate our policies but contain controversial religious or supremacist content, that has to keep you into consideration what they mean by controversial religious or supremacist content, since again we are dealing with the people that are going to be examining this will be people that have been part of the program of the Anti-Defamation League, the No Hate Speech Movement, and the Institute for Strategic Dialogue. Then we're going to see it says they will be placed in a limited state. The videos will remain on YouTube behind an interstitial, won't be recommended, won't be monetized. I have no problem with monetization. Honestly, I don't see my videos coming up as much recommended on things anyway, so I don't really care or worry about that. So the first two don't worry me. Won't be recommended, won't be monetized. I don't do any of those. Then it says, but they won't have key features including comments, suggested videos, and likes. Okay. I would like people to express feedback, even from my own critics that disagree with me. So I would like people to have a chance to express themselves, where some people already don't allow comments on their things. Suggested videos and likes, I don't care about either way. I would like suggested videos if it helps promote certain people, including some people like just in general that may not even be of my channel or anything related. Just at least so people can, as soon as they see my video and they're tired of listening to what I have to say, they can go somewhere else, So we'll begin to roll this new treatment out to videos on desktop versions of YouTube in the coming weeks, and we'll bring it to mobile experiences soon hereafter. So from what I've also heard, it's basically also going to put it in a, when it says interstitial, kind of like it's unlisted. People won't be able to see it really as well. So that's what's confusing me about all these other features. Like, well, you can't come and like it, then why, even I don't even have any words for it. But anyways, then it says early intervention in expanding counter-extremism work. We've started rolling out features from Jigsaw's redirect method to YouTube. When people search for sensitive keywords on YouTube, they will be redirected towards a playlist of curated YouTube videos that directly confront and debunk violent extremist messages, which is fine. You can still look up the extremist stuff while having, stuff that debunks and disproves it, which I think is a very good thing to allow, both sides and such. But I still think, in regards to like recruitment stuff, we need to most certainly deal with that and take it down. We also continue to amplify YouTube voices speaking out against hate and radicalization through our YouTube Creators for Change program. Just last week, the UK chapter of Creators hosted a 2-day workshop for 13 to 18-year-olds to help them find a positive sense of belonging online and learn skills of how to participate safely and responsible on the internet. We also pledged to expand the program's reach to 20,000 more teens across the UK. So I really want to try to just emphasize something here. I'm not against the issue about the freedom of being positive and being creative and such. What I express is a creativity to the point that we are able to promote a sense of freedom of speech without having childish ideologies behind. To the Davey and James that was commenting in the live chat, yeah, they do have a YouTube for Kids feature, and they kind of fix that. But this is, again, the article that I'm reading from Davey, and let me go to it real quick. I'm not presenting this to everyone. Okay, there we go. That makes it a little bigger for y'all to see. This was posted to that Tuesday of this week. So this is very new, is what this is going on, and they're just now talking about this new approach they're trying out. I haven't heard any feedback or anything yet from YouTube on this. If anyone has any more information and they're watching this video, please feel free to comment and share with me some updates on this issue, because the issue that I have is that I've already made quite a few videos. I don't really tend to get too controversial. At least I don't have an intent on it. It just tends to sometimes come across that way. Some people find me talking about evolutionary creationism or Calvinism to be a controversial and extremist idea. Some people have just simply said that my critique of Islam in some of my videos is Islamophobic and is hate speech, when I don't hate Muslims. There's actually been times that I've simply shown that I've had Muslim friends. I've gotten people to talk to, and in fact, they share the same kind of thing about this as I would. That as much as we would want the extremist and terroristic content to go away, we also want a fair promotion of the freedom of speech. That if we're going to have an ideas, that hopefully they aren't going to then be censored from a biased point from people that think that a cartoon of a frog is offensive. So it's going to soon be the point where I think that people that want to talk politics or religion, unless you are one of the big markets like Fox News, MSNBC, or any of these other groups, you're the only ones that can have news to talk about politics and such. But the other people that aren't even alternative right, but people like like what was it, secular news or secular media or something, was told that they had to change an approach in regards to mentioning religion in their thing. And that's the other thing too, religion. What about people like me? What about people like Speaker's Corner, Dawa channel, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, all these different Mormons, Roman Catholics, these different people, if they make their own channels about something and they have a view, then they should have the right to express it. They should have the right to do so. And at this point, if we're going to be on here, I would like to just simply state that if you have followed me and you have disagreed with me on things, just note that this is one of the key things. Ever since I've learned about this statement in my junior year of high school, it has stuck with me for a while, because even though the guy's not even American, what he has to say is a universal truth, because he had to deal with the suppression of free speech in his country. And the same principle, I think, can apply to everywhere else. Now, I don't know what the usual laws are for the internet in regards to free speech. But when it comes to hate speech, there's more to combating it than simply just getting rid of it altogether. Now, again, this doesn't mean I'm against the removal of extremist content of people like ISIS and such. We should remove the content from them, as well as any chance of them, or any other group for that matter, recruiting people to join in some form of extremist cult that will either cause people to kill themselves or cause them to kill others. But there are people that I worry are going to think, Christianity, the moderate Muslim major group that's out there, the Mormons and such, people will then start taking action against them. Because I've seen on my videos on Islam that people have stated that I'm an Islamophobic bigot, and some have mentioned me being racist apparently before in other hangouts off air. I don't intend to be that, and my arguments don't implement that by any standards, because one, Islam is not even a race. It's an ideology and religion. And I critique the arguments based upon what the Quran and the Hadith say. But when someone says, oh, because they have a different God than you, that makes you better than them, you Islamophobic bigot. But, if arguments are going to be made about the Bible and such from some Muslim apologists, then the same person will say, yay, congratulations for attacking the hate and such. So when they critique someone, at least some of them, when they critique someone, it's fine. But when I critique someone, it's now hate speech. What we need to consider is that there is double standards being applied, and that if YouTube is going to be fully successful with this. They need to really be careful with making the final adjustments to the system before they officially put it out for the desktop versions and then ultimately to the mobile versions. And if they do this, and if I start losing any content on here, or if I'm no longer going to be able to put any content on here as a result, then I don't know what to do at this point, because most of me just being on here is because of you guys. And I would so much like to continue what I'm doing. And for me to continue doing so, there has to be an outlet. I've still kept myself up on Twitter, barely. I try to go into Hangouts and other people's chats. But right now, I mean, I'm not blaming YouTube. Again, I want them to be successful with what they're doing. But again, I think that YouTube and the experts that they have, that will raise concern if they're not careful, because YouTube is trying to be successful, and that's fine. They have the right to do so. But they have to be careful with the steps they take to implement the process. So with that being said, I just want y'all to know this. Be very careful with what happens. And for YouTube, if you're listening to this, again, just make sure to really work on the steps you bring about, because if things happen and go the wrong way, there's going to be a lot less people coming to YouTube. Some people may stop subscribing to YouTube Red. Some partners may not even appreciate this, because you still have some that have this free speech idea to the point of sharing it as we would do. So just be very careful. And I hope all the best goes for you in regards to the decision you make to combat extremist content. But realize that not everything that some of these groups say is extremist content. And that's why sometimes you need to also take the time to look at it and consider what is being stated in the videos. So that way you yourselves, as the owners of YouTube, that we're publishing our content on your deal for, that you allow us to be on, that you'll know we aren't promoters of hate speech, that we aren't trying to promote an ideas of killing and murder. We're trying to be fair people. So that being said, that has been my thoughts on this, and I hope y'all have a great day.